Alli McCracken, and today I want to talk to you about 7 different countries: Iraq, Afghanistan, Yemen, Syria, Libya, Pakistan, and Somalia. I bring up these countries not because they are the countries on Trump's ban list, even though 5 of them are, but because these are 7 countries that the U.S. has been bombing for decades now. As Rama said earlier, in 2016 alone, the United States dropped over 26,000 bombs. That's 3 bombs every hour, 24 hours a day. If this was our reality under a Nobel Peace Prize winning president, what is it going to be like under Trump? Trump is just getting started with this Muslim ban. His campaign laid the groundwork of hate and Islamophobia that he will invoke to justify the next war, and the next war, and the next war. And while we must demand our government let in Muslim refugees, we should and we must demand that our government stop slaughtering them overseas like it has been for years. Some of you have been in the streets for a decade now, protesting evil and vicious U.S. foreign policies that treat Muslim lives as disposable. Some of you have been crying out against Islamophobia, Guantanamo Bay military prison, discrimination, killer drone strikes, and endless war for years. But for those of you who are new to the movement, welcome. I welcome your outrage against this Muslim ban. I implore you to channel this rage against the military-industrial complex, which has been profiting from the killing of Muslims for years. I implore you to channel this rage to oppose state-sanctioned racial profiling, from Muslims in airports to police harassment of people of color in our communities. I implore you to oppose the construction of all separation walls, from the apartheid wall that Israel is building in Palestine to the wall that Trump wants to build between the U.S. and Mexico. We have a lot of work ahead of us, and we have a long fight to go. And if you want to get involved in a rapid response team to counter Islamophobia, and if you want to work to lift up the voices of some of the amazing Muslim American activists you've heard speak here today, please come find me afterwards and give me your email address. We as allies cannot and we will not sit on the sidelines as Muslims are discriminated against, as they are banned, as they are killed, as they are spied on, as they are imprisoned, and more. When Muslim lives are under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back! When Muslim lives are under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back! And now I'd like to introduce my partner, the American Friends Service Committee Government Relations Manager, Raed Jarrar.
Great speech, ma'am. Thank you everyone for coming tonight. My name is Raed Jarrar. I'm the Government Relations Manager with the American Friends Service Committee. I am an Arab and Muslim man from Palestine and Iraq, and I'm proud of it. I'm also proud of being an American citizen who fights for my rights and stands up for my fellow citizens' rights. I was born in Iraq, and I was in Baghdad in 2003 when U.S. tanks rolled down our streets, and I watched my country be destroyed by an illegal and immoral occupation of the U.S.
Shame!
And the irony was that less than a year after I immigrated to the United States, seeking refuge in this country, I was stopped by TSA officials at JFK because I was wearing a T-shirt in Arabic. This T-shirt that says, "We will not be silent." I was stopped at an airport because my T-shirt had words in Arabic. And the irony is that just a few years before that, I lost my country because of a war that was waged under justifications of freedom and democracy.
Shame!
When I was stopped by TSA officers, I decided to fight against that, not only because it's against my rights as a U.S. citizen, but I also saw it as coming from the same mentality that justifies killing and oppressing Muslims outside. And this is what's happening today. The same mentality that is justifying wars and occupations, torture and murder of Muslims abroad is justifying Islamophobia here in the US to ban Muslims or discriminate against them inside this country. And we should say no to both.
Right.
When I was not allowed on the airplane in 2006, I was reading a book about African Americans not being allowed on buses or admitted to buses to the back of buses. When the TSA let me go on my flight back in 2006, they put me to the back of the airplane as well. This country sometimes does not learn from its mistakes. Some people forget about the mistakes of our nation, and we have to remind them that we will not let this happen again. When you hear what the Trump administration is saying about refugees, they make it seem as if admitting refugees to the United States is an act of charity. The fact of the matter is that, like Ali mentioned, many of these refugees have become refugees because of the United States wars. We have destroyed their nations and made their countries inhabitable. So allowing them to come to the US is not an act of charity, it's an act of moral responsibility. It's actually, we have to let them in as a small portion of fulfilling our moral and legal obligations. So when the ban is happening, we should continue to say, let them in.
Let them in.
Let them in.
Let them in.
It's their right to be here, not just because they are refugees and we care about refugees. We have to get them here because we destroy their homelands. And the United States and us as US citizens hold moral and legal obligation to let them come to this country. So let me end by telling you again the slogan on my t-shirt that ironically the TSA tried to silence me. It said, "We will not be silent." And I want to ask you, if this Trump administration wants to silence us, what are we going to say?
We will not be silent.